Good evening to everyone. This is Asapat Telecoms, formerly as Apex Telecoms. So, this evening we'll be looking at how to become a consultant if you are already in the telecom industry. So, we'll be looking at five whole steps of how to become a consultant in the telecom industry where you find yourself working. I know most of us have been trying several times to become a consultant or an expatriate somewhere in a foreign land, or in Africa, or wherever you find yourself. So we'll be looking at five whole steps of becoming a consultant in the telecom industry. Now, the first step that you need to understand is that the market is made up of vendors and then operators. So you need to have a focus. Uh, but most of the times, these contracts or jobs that come into the market, most of the times they come from the vendors. Um, Sometimes we may see the operators also coming out with these opportunities. So, but most often than not, they come from the vendors. When I talk of vendor, I'm talking about vendors like Huawei, uh, Ericsson, ZTE, Nokia, and the likes. So you need to have a focus on where to work. So, but most of the times, these jobs comes from these vendors, and we also have some coming from the operators. But most often, uh, you build experience and focus from the vendors because the vendors are those who supply the equipment for the operators to work on them. So normally, it's always best to work with the vendors for a start, build some experiences in their core areas, and then when you have those experience in with the vendors, you can now jump onto working with operators. One thing about working with vendors is that they have what is called the library or supporting documents that help you as a telecom engineer to build your experiences whilst you move on. So normally it's always best to start with the vendor and then you can now jump onto an operator. So if you work with a vendor, you have the chance of learning a lot of things from the vendor. For instance, let's say you want to work with Ericsson as a consultant. So you jump onto Ericsson vendor, all right? So with the vendor of Ericsson, you're able to learn a lot of things. They have a whole lot of libraries about the equipment. If you are a CS core person, you have documents that will support your understanding. If you're a packet core person, you have documents that you understand. You have in optimization, you are in radio access, you are in whatever domain that you find yourself. So you be able to get a better or clear picture of where or what you want to know with the vendor. Now, that is the advantage of starting the vendor. Now, when you get all those experiences and you build that confidence level in you, then you can now jump and work with the operator. So operators can sometimes advertise that they need a consultant. So when you apply, what they look out for is somebody who has worked with a vendor before. It's one of their requirements. So if you are working with a vendor before, then somebody who has been an operator all his life, they'll pick the one who has worked with a vendor and an operator at the same time. So one disadvantage of working with the operator is that you're on your own. You don't have any access to any tools. You don't have any access to any documents. So you don't have enough experience with the vendor, and then you pick up a job with the operator, you may be found wanting. So it's always best to start as a consultant with a vendor. Then number two, or the second point of how to become a consultant is to check the area that is booming in the telecom industry. So we have various areas. We have optimization, we have planning, we have packet core, we have CS core planning, we have CS core. All these areas are there. All right. So you look into the market and then you look at where the jobs are coming more. So for instance, in this modern era, we have a lot of jobs coming in the IP domain. I'm talking about mobile packet bone network. I'm talking about packet core technology, data technology. These days, because of the need for internet on the mobile phone, people using a lot of services, TikTok, Instagram, and all those stuff. It is making, for instance, the packet core domain to become very popular. So, if you want to, or if you ask me, which one is becoming popular these days, I would say it's the packet core domain, and then sometimes to use the optimization as well. CS core domain is also good, but these days they are all moving most of these domains into the cloud native infrastructure. So these are the areas. So you look at the area that is booming the market, and then you specialize there, and then you can apply for the job. So study the market, which jobs normally counts a lot, and then you pick it up and then you specialize and then master in that area over a certain period of time. So for instance, if I check the market and I see a lot of optimization jobs coming all the time, what I need to do is to specialize in what? Optimization. So I need to build my confidence level, learn a lot in optimization. Then, like I said in number one, you pick the vendor that is booming as well. The vendors are all there. Maybe you have a lot of jobs coming from Ericsson, so you need to specialize in Ericsson line. If you have a lot of jobs coming from Huawei, you need to pick the Huawei side and then you specialize in that area. So these are the first two. Now the third one is you need to make contact with fellow consultants who are already on the field. So if you want to become a consultant, you need to have colleagues or friends who are already in the telecom, uh, sorry, telecom consulting industry. So you need to have contact with all these people. You need to have at least two or three people as friends or as colleagues who maybe you'll be communicating with all the time. I mean, maybe I want to become a run um, optimizer. I need to contact somebody who has been doing run optimization in the telecom industry. It's a telecom consultant. I need to find the contact side people and then build my relationship with them and then begin to talk with them one on one. Sometimes you'll be asking them a lot of questions on how to become a consultant like them, and they'll show you the way out. Sometimes it's not only about whom you know, you need to build that relationship with people so they can also assist you. So you need to know some people who are already in the industry. Um, the next one, or the fourth point that we would like to talk about, is after you've learned all these lessons, you need to now look at your CV and then rebuild it. Your CV speaks a lot about you. You need to build your CV to match with everything that you want to do. So if I want to become, let's say, a packet core consultant, I need to look at the CV of fellow consultants who are already in the field. And then I'll look at the way they've built their CV and I'll study from it. So you build your CV to match with consultants who are already in the field. And then you ensure that whatever you have written down, you're up to the task. So make sure that everything you have written, you are up to the task. So you build your CV based on the experiences that you have done already. And then you look at fellow consultants who have also prepared their CV in that way so that your CV become rich. And the last thing is, which is very critical, is that you need to register your CV or your credentials with employment agencies. So, employment agencies, I'm talking about agencies who are into the business for some years. Okay, so if you want to know some of these employment agencies, you can talk to your fellow friends who are already in the telecom industry, or you can search for them. We have a lot of them. We have like Penta Consulting, we have Country Resources, we have Risk, that's RIZE.